You are an architect working in the city that you were born and raised in. You're familiar with the environment, the culture, the residents, the politics, the history, and you participate in the design process of local projects day to day. Now take a second and imagine that you have been selected to design an adaptive reuse project elsewhere in your state. This is an area that you are unfamiliar with in all aspects, yet they are coming to you to improve their community. All of the aspects and influences of design that you've been accustomed to in your local community are no longer present. You can provide the area with your expert knowledge of architecture, yet you lack the understanding of their local knowledge. You are outside, looking in. How do you design a well-informed project for this community? How do you determine what holds architectural importance in the area? How do you begin to understand? Associated character expression is the architectural language as it relates to the overall community image. Firstly, the designer should engage with the associated character of the area at a macro scale. This includes understanding a community's architectural image as a whole, their most defining structures, and spaces that positively impact the local residents' view of their built environment. Narrowing the scope into a specific site for an adaptive reuse project, the designer will begin to understand the opportunities as well as the constraints of a targeted location. Understanding a site's relationship to the larger area and how it will incorporate, celebrate, and evolve the community's architectural language is integral to producing a project for the residents that has a positive reception. How can the designer better understand these two aspects of associated character expression and integrate them into the design process? How can we understand this necessary local information? As designers, we work within a scope of expert knowledge, meaning we use data, research, and observations that we gather to understand and to create a design that works best within an area. The key that the community members hold is local knowledge. Local knowledge is information that we as designers can only access and understand through members of the community who experience the phenomenon of their surroundings on a day-to-day basis. Involving the community to help bridge the gap between expert and local knowledge will work to create a project that helps the community further define their desired architectural character expression. The community's understanding of these three contexts and how they influence each other, the designer, the community, and the adaptive reuse project is paramount for a successful proposal. The community understands their architectural language the best. Thus, the inclusion of the community's voice in adaptive reuse projects helps inform the designer to create a powerful project that builds upon and restores the area's associated character.
Our audience is directed towards both the clients of an adaptive reuse project and its surrounding community. People know and understand their home the best, so receiving local feedback and knowledge will be essential for a successful project. Inversely, to provide this information to the designer, the community needs to understand some aspects of expert knowledge. If the community is educated on simplified terms and strategies used by the design experts, they can better explain and communicate their wants and dislikes in regard to architectural character expression. By working together with the local residents, the designer can better understand the community's touch points within the area, as well as educate them through our field of knowledge, which will overall allow for the project to better celebrate the community's ideal environment. During the design process, as we discussed, it is integral for the designer to gather information from the community regarding their ideas on architectural expression and what they would like to see regarding preservation and evolution of their community through adaptive reuse projects. To gather this information, we propose a variety of incoming streams of information that will all engage the community in different ways. These methods include surveys, interviews, case studies, historical analysis, demographics, workshops, and engagement in theoretical projects. For this project, we will focus on surveys, interviews, and workshops. These three methods can all gather the community and glean information about their views on their current architectural language and how they want to see it changed or reinforced. These methods will seek to gather information such as what aspects of the town's architecture hold significance to the residents, what styles and materials within specific sites best represent your community and history, what aspects of building placement and scale create a comfortable environment to you. After a project has been implemented, it is the designer's responsibility to understand the people's perspective on both their inclusion in the design process and the finalized architectural character expression that the adaptive reuse project provides. This can be measured through the acceptance of the visual and spatial aspects of the project by participating in interviews, surveys, and workshops with the locals to see what could be changed, what was done well, and what was unexpected.
As an example of this process, we can look at the city of Grand Rapids and how they are currently carrying out their master plan. The city planners understand the importance of the community and use them as a vital role in designing their future. The design experts work to educate the community on normally used design vocabulary to have more efficient conversations and to better understand specifics of the process. Some examples of topics in which the community is educated in that relates to the site-specific architectural character expression are materials, scale, and placement of projects. The city planners seek to leverage the architectural character expression within the area through material usage to create a project that relates to the surrounding context. The designer also worked to help the community understand the importances of street frontages in relation to scale and placement in an endeavor to gather opinions on current perception of their built environment. While the designers worked to educate the community, they also depended on their knowledge and experiences to drive their process. The residents came together to gather local knowledge through various surveys, interviews, and workshops, which helped tailor the design to better fit their vision. Through these strategic methods of informing the audience and representing the community's voice, the designers were able to gather a surplus of local knowledge and wants of the residents to incorporate into the design process. Gathering local feedback helped create a synthesized list of guidelines to help them better bring the community's plans to life.
Linking the gap between local and expert knowledge through an engaged community will create powerful adaptive reuse projects by both the designer and the people. This results in a measurable acceptance of the character expression the project embodies. This focus within the design process is integral to not only the project, but the members of the community themselves, as they are the ones who are inhabiting and interacting with the architecture day to day.